Hello, Sipsters. Welcome back to the Sippin' on Stories podcast. I'm Andy Corey, your host, and I'm so delighted that you're here. Happy Tuesday, you guys. How are you doing? Let me just give you a real behind the scenes as to how I've been doing. Let's be honest, this last week was a heavy week. It just was. And I was not in a great mental state, if you will, to where I almost didn't do a podcast episode this week. I just said, I'm just not there. I wanted to just tune out to everything that was going on, curl up in my bed and just hang out there. And I didn't want to do anything else. And so my wonderful husband said, no, Mandy, you put out an episode this week because you've got listeners that may be sad if there's no episode on Tuesday. And I thought about that. And you know what? This week I have actually been tuning into a lot of my own podcasts because I just love a good podcast. I do. So I found myself binging a whole bunch of other podcasts as a way to just tune out, I guess. And not saying that that's healthy, not saying that that's great, but it's what I was doing. So I'm like, you know what? If there's anybody else that's like me, I'll put on an episode so that there's more to listen to and distract you from what you may be going through, experiencing, whatever. Good news is I have therapy this week, so that should help. You know, this is not very positive. So I'm going to stop that and we'll just go into our story. So we have an anonymous guest today, and she is telling us about her experience in her marriage dealing with pornography. So it's not necessarily the most uplifting episode, but it is one that I think a lot of people can relate to. And if it's something that you're going through and experiencing, there's somebody else that's experiencing along with you. So here is Jessica for today's episode. Hi.
Hey.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Okay, so you're anonymous. Do you know a name that you want to use?
I don't know. Give me a name, Mandy.
Okay, the first name that came to my mind was Jessica.
That's my little sister's name.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, then let's just use Jessica. Okay, so Jessica, what is your favorite drink?
I like Dr. Pepper.
Just a regular Dr. Pepper?
Well, so I keep Dr. Pepper on hand, but my go-to drink, if I'm getting one from a soda place, is Dr. Pepper with strawberry puree coconut cream.
It sounds good. Yeah.
You were saying something in one of your other podcasts about not liking the puree part.
Yeah.
I love that part.
Drinking the jelly.
Just make sure you mix it up a little bit more before you start.
I know, that's probably I just get too excited and I just start drinking. So I just sip that all up. I should probably try it again. It's been quite some time since I've had a puree. So.
Well, strawberry is in Dr. Pepper.
Okay, well, I have no idea what your story involves. So I'm just going to let you start telling it.
Well, so my story is about overcoming being a victim and becoming an advocate for my husband who has a problem with pornography addiction. So I've shared this story a lot with people I know, and I'm doing it anonymous because my husband's not quite ready to share.
Understandably.
But he's willing to let me share. So I'm going to share. And then if somebody comes to you, Mandy, and says, I need to talk to her, and you feel like they do, then you can go ahead and give them my contact information. Okay, Mandy?
Okay, I will do that.
So, to give a little background, I am a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, born and raised, and so is my husband. So, addiction is not, just because you go to church every Sunday does not mean you won't be tempted to, or you won't end up with addictions. So, I'll give you a little background on how my husband became addicted. So, he was exposed to it at a friend's house when he was 12.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he used to play video games, this is cliche, he played video games in his mom's basement
Uh-huh.
when he was 12 going up, and he was laying on the ground playing a video game, and there were skanky dressed women in it, and next thing you know, he's masturbating, not on purpose, and that was the start of his addiction.
Mm-hmm.
So, one thing that most people don't understand is that a pornography addiction, um, it's not just looking at pictures, but it's masturbating along with it. And so, this is maybe more than people want to know,
Oh.
but anyways, so that was the start of his addiction. He got over it, was able to go on a mission. He was able to resist it all through his mission. And then he got home, and, life's different. You're not engulfed in Jesus Christ and his gospel, and temptation comes back in. And so he fell back into that trap of pornography. And then when we met, he was very honest with me. Like, he told me he had a problem, but being naive like I was and not understanding everything, I was like, okay, like, that's fine. Like, you're working on it. You're talking to your bishop. Okay, like, it's great. But I didn't realize how truly it would affect me in
Yeah.
the long run and our family. Um, and so it's been a long process.
Oh, no, I believe you.
But so fast forward, we're married. Um, we got pregnant right off. Um, I wanted to wait a few months, and my husband's like, well, let's just let it happen when it happens. And so I'm fertile Myrtle, like my mother, and um, 9 months later, we have our first son.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I'm sick out of my mind. I don't feel good. I was sick for 9 months with him. It was miserable. And relapsed, and I found it on the computer.
On your own.
And yep, I came across it. Um, the one thing I can tell you is that the Spirit has led me to finding it. Um, and like I just get this feeling. And he didn't act a whole lot different, but he got more involved in his video gaming, I think, as a way to cope with um, his guilt. And
Mm-hmm.
so I found it on his computer, and I confronted him, and he always lied about it. Always lied. And I feel like I saw it. Like, how else was that on there? Like, it was
Yeah.
full on, like, pictures and his search history and everything. And then
Did he seem like panicky lie? Or was it like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about? Or could you tell that he was like, uh-oh?
well, when we first got married, I couldn't tell.
Mm-hmm.
But he's actually not a very good liar. So as we progressed, I was like, "You're lying to me. I know you are." And then he would fess up or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But he kind of gets this like wide eyes, kind of like, "Oh crap."
Yeah.
Anyways, I can laugh about it now, but back then I just cried every time.
Yeah. What was your first reaction like when you found it? Was it like shock on your end? Or were you kind of like not surprised to see it? Or what was your, like at the very beginning when this all first started for you?
Full on shock
Mm-hmm.
because he said he had taken care of it, that he was
Mm-hmm.
doing good. Um, his bishop said he was good to get married in the temple. Like I trusted him.
Mm-hmm.
I fully trusted him. And so it was devastating. Devastating that I found it that he didn't come to me and say, "Hey, I've relapsed. I need help." Because
Was
he
this
was
at?
ashamed.
Did you say this was after you had your first, or were you still pregnant?
I was still pregnant.
Oh, that adds a whole other mixture of you're feeling real great
Yes.
about yourself during that
Yes.
time. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. It was,
Yeah.
I had dropped out of college because I was so sick. He was working and going to school, and I was stay-at-home wife. Um, and so I already felt like I was a burden to him. And then I find out he's looking again, and I felt like it was all my fault.
Mm-hmm.
It was all my fault because I'm not sexy enough right now because I'm so sick and I had lost lots of weight and like I was just I don't know. And so I told him he needed to go talk to the bishop and work that out. And I decided I was going to go talk to the bishop as well. And our our bishop at the time was old school, and he I don't know if he said these exact words, but this is what I came out of the meeting with was that I wasn't meeting his needs, and that's why he relapsed. I think his heart was in the right place, but
That was
not
not.
good.
Yeah. Okay,
So
so he tells you that.
so then not only am I feeling bad, but then you add that the bishop said I wasn't meeting his needs, and that's why he was relapsing. And so it was it was the hardest thing that I think today is the hardest thing that I had to overcome was those words, that
Mm-hmm.
implication that it was my fault. And so then that victimized me even more.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of empowering me, it made me less confident about my ability to help my husband get through his addiction.
Mm-hmm. And definitely put blame on yourself versus where the blame really lied, which was not there.
Right.
Boy, yeah.
And so it continued on for a while. Me finding it, him lying about it, blah, blah, blah. I left him a couple of times, as in, like, I left and didn't tell him where I was going. Went to a friend's house. He called me a million times. Um, I started, like, freaking out about people's modesty, especially the ladies in the church, because I'm like, you got to be modest because it'll help. I didn't tell them.
But that
But
was your
like I
thinking
always,
behind it.
yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
growing up we're told we need to be modest to help the boys, right?
Yep.
Which I mean, we can be modest, but they have to choose where they let their thoughts go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what we were told growing up, huh, Mandy?
No, let's teach things a little bit differently for our children. So,
Right.
yep.
Well, and that's another thing, like I struggled with the whole intimacy because for the longest time we're told, no, it's bad, no, it's bad, and now all of a sudden a piece of paper says it's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so that's the other thing that when I've been in Young Women's is I've talked to them like, it's a beautiful and sacred thing. It's not bad. Just save it.
Mm-hmm.
Save it till it's time, till, you're committed to somebody because it is beautiful and special.
Mm-hmm.
And not so much don't do it, don't do it. It's bad, it's bad.
I know. Yep.
Because still
Yeah.
today, I've been married for 14 years, and still today, sometimes it's like, oh, that paper is the only thing that says it's okay now. Like
Yeah,
my
it can really
mental,
mess with you. Yeah, it can really mess with you.
right?
Yeah.
Anyways, um, I made some lists here. Anyways, things were not good for the longest time. And then he finally graduated from college and we moved for his job. And I kid you not, this is where the miracles start happening. So we looked at three different houses and they felt okay. Um, one was a whole lot bigger than the house we bought and it was out in the country and it was kind of what we wanted, but it didn't feel right. And then the
Mm-hmm.
second one was like, well, it's okay, but we don't really like it. So the third one, my husband and I, we walked in, and at this point we had two little kids. And we walked in, and it was just like, this is the house. This
Mm-hmm.
is the house. This is where we need to live. This is where we need to be. And so we bought the house. Everything, came together like miraculously for us to buy this house. And it happened to be five houses down from a boy that, well, a man, now he's a man and his family who I went to high school with, and his wife and I just hit it off like I've never hit off with a person before. And come to find out, he struggled with pornography like way worse than my husband, like hardcore, and he would go get um like massages with a little fun
They're
thing
in
at the
town?
end. Not here in our town, but in the town close to us.
Okay.
And then he ended up sleeping with their neighbor. Um,
The neighbor that was now both your neighbors or a previous neighbor?
no, both it was both our neighbors.
Okay, so
So,
back up. How did you? I know you and the wife. You said you hit it off really well. How long did it take before you both like opened up that this was a struggle for you guys?
um, at this point, they were open,
Oh, they were.
very open about their situation and how far they've come. And, he had even shared bits and pieces in a talk in church. And so people were aware. And
Mm-hmm.
so she was sharing, I think it was more offhanded that she brought it up. And then, like, I just bawled.
Yeah.
And that's when I knew that's why we bought this house, because I needed somebody who lived it like I
Mm-hmm.
lived it. Because,
So,
like,
oh
yeah, go
no,
ahead.
keep going. You can keep going.
Um, like I ended up conferring in like my sister and my mom and dad, because I told my husband, I said, I need help. I need
Mm-hmm.
help getting through this so that I can help you. And so he's like, okay, fine. But he didn't want my family to think less of him. And I think the complete opposite. I think they realized, that even a wonderful person like my husband, because he is a wonderful person, um, very kind and loving. He's a great dad, that even a person like him has problems.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this friend um, slept with the neighbor, and they he almost walked out on her, and our bishop at the time, he's now our stake president, but he was our bishop, was amazing. Absolutely amazing. There was no shaming of either partner. There was just love and help. And about this same time, my husband relapsed again for the who knows how many times.
Yeah, I wanted to know, like, the time before you moved, like, what did that look like? So you would confront him, he would finally, like, own up to it. What were the steps that you guys were taking between then and you moving of,
I
like,
felt like his mother. I locked down his phone.
mm-hmm,
Um, like he couldn't add games. He couldn't like he you would be surprised the ways that you can get around all those things to find
mm-hmm,
pornography.
yeah,
If
oh, I'm
you
sure
want
it's out
to,
there.
you can find it. Like I was determined to keep him from it, but now
Mm-hmm.
I've just come like eventually I came to the point of like I'm gonna help it become less easy so he has time to think before he does it. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's trying to find it, but it's going to take some time, and then maybe it'll help him like click out of it and be like, "No, I can't do this."
Was
But
he
at
like
first I
actively
wasn't.
trying as well, or was he kind of like you were being the mother person, but he was still like doing his thing type of, or was he also feeling guilty, trying to correct it?
Oh,
Like
he
what?
he always felt guilty. He
Oh,
always did. And that's the part about like when I was listening to your gal who is so open about her painkillers is that, that guilt. It's like this slippery slope, which I'll explain later when I get to the point. Anyways, but it's like a funnel. You start at the top and you make one little slip up, and then you're just down, 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 and it's really hard to stop that slippery slope.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, and so he would view it and masturbate, and then he would feel guilty about it, and that's when Satan gets his grasp on you. And then, rather than own up to it, you like try to hide it or whatever, and then Satan can tempt you more, and
Yeah.
then
You're
you,
just in that spiral loop.
yes, and then it
Mm-hmm.
becomes more and more frequent. And so
Yeah.
there was times when it was very frequent, and then there was times when like he'd go like 4 or 5 months before like I had those feelings like, oh crap, I need to check.
And so would you always
Because
be the one that found it, or would he ever come to you?
I always found it.
Okay.
He never came to me at that point. Like I
Mm-hmm.
always just found it. And I
Okay.
was always devastated, and I always reacted the way the parents of the one gal did, of feeling hurt, betrayed, upset.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's another reason why he never wanted to tell me, because he didn't want to hurt me, because he
Mm-hmm.
loved me, and he knew it was wrong, but it's an addiction. It
Yeah.
changes the chemistry in your brain, and it's not just something you can get over on your own, really.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Anyways,
So fast forward back to what you were saying. Sorry, I interrupted you and made you
no, that's
talk about
okay.
that. But
It's important. Um, so about the same time that our friends were having problems, my husband started having problems again too. But his thinking was, well, he never cheated on me with another lady.
mm-hmm.
Like,
It's not as bad as it could have been. Type of
right.
thinking. Yeah.
And so he was upset with our friend for cheating on his wife, but he never saw it as him cheating on me. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, it feels the same. It feels the same, because
Mm-hmm.
you know that that is supposed to be that sacred thing between a man and a wife. And if you're not doing it with me and you're doing yourself, then you are cheating on me. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that was a wake up call. One of the many wake up calls.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think it was like 6 months to a year after the whole thing with our friends that I found out that he was looking again, and he lied, the worst lie he's ever lied. And it was like the type of lie that it's like, do you think I'm stupid
Uh huh.
to believe that type of lie? Like, that's the type of lie it was. And like, that one was hard for me. So between the bishop's comments and then this one, it was like,
What was it?
I, well, it might give away where my location. No, it's fine. So he had Googled Kim Kardashian, because she's very skinky, right?
Uh huh.
Dressed or
Yeah.
whatever. She has lots of wonderful pictures out there. And he lied to me and said, well, my coworker lives in Kimberly, Idaho. I was looking up Kimberly, Idaho, and came
Oh, and Kim
across,
Kardashian just happened to be there.
yes. And
Okay.
I was like, how freaking dumb do you think?
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, I'm still a victim and not an advocate.
Mm-hmm.
And so uh, that hurt. That hurt way bad. And I packed up let's see, 3 kids. I might have been pregnant with our fourth, but I know we had at least three at this point. And I packed us up and I went and stayed with my sister. And my husband called and called and called. And I said, you know what, I'm done. Because trust is a finicky thing. Like, you can say you want to change, but unless there's action behind it, there's no proof,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And he had told me for, at least like 6 years at this point, um, 4 to 6 years. I'm trying to think because of how old my son is. The third one is. Anyways, it had been like 4 to 6 years at this point of lies.
Mhm.
And, well, I promise I'll do better. And then him doing better for a little bit, and then me finding it. And I said, the trust is gone. There is no trust left unless you show me with something I can see with my eyes. We're done.
Mhm.
And that was his final wake up call.
Had you
Um,
like told him like before this point? Had you thought about leaving? Had you talked about it? I mean, I know you said that you'd like go stay with some people sometimes, but had it been a thought that you'd had previous?
um, yes,
Mhm.
multiple times because still at this point I'm the victim and he's
Yeah, of course.
cheating on me,
Mhm.
and um I was done. Like, I didn't want my kids. I said, we have kids. What if they get exposed to it because you can't control this, you
Yeah,
know?
like you
And
found it on the
then,
computer. Your kids could easily find it on the computer.
right.
You know.
Or
Mhm.
they'll walk in on dad seeing it, you
Yeah.
know?
Mhm.
And like, there was just all these things. Like, I don't want my children to have to deal with this. I don't want their future spouses to have to deal with this because you couldn't get it figured out. And he was
Mhm.
always, he hated going and having to confess to the bishop because he didn't want them to think less of him.
Mhm.
And he actually served as the ward executive secretary with one of the bishops, with the bishop that's now stake president. Like, he served the end of his time and then with the new bishop.
Mhm.
And so he didn't want it. He had told the one, he didn't want to have to tell the new one. And I ended up calling our bishop just in tears because we had gone in and talked to him, and this bishop he was so kind. Like, he's the bishop that helped me come to terms with the fact that I need antidepressants
Mhm.
because my third kid, I had postpartum so bad and I hated being a mom and I always wanted to be a mom. And so,
Mhm.
like, he was amazing, and he has um, a background in the medical field. And so he was good with my depression and stuff, and he was very good with my husband and the the medical side of addiction.
Mhm.
Um, and so he recommended that because my husband had done the church's 12 steps and stuff, like,
Yeah, like
and
they're
that,
you know.
yeah, and that would kind of help, but it wouldn't, like, it didn't give him the tools he needed to overcome it. And
Mhm.
so the church down here had an actual counselor do a small group therapy sessions, and it was like $500, and he hated it because he didn't want to have to pay for um he didn't want to have to pay for his problem. Like,
Mhm.
$500 was a lot for us, you know.
Yeah.
And I said, but I need to see. So you're gonna do this, and I'm gonna see that you're going every week to this therapy session, and that way then we can start building our trust back. And I will come home and we'll work this out. And that's when it all changed. I had read several books about um, like people's experiences with being an addict and being, you know, the loved one of an addict,
Mhm.
and especially women, you know, who had gone through what I'd been going through. And I realized finally, with the bishop's help and with my savior, that it was not my fault. And that's when I changed from being a victim to being his biggest advocate.
Mhm.
And that's like that this whole time is when our story changed from going like over and over and over again. Um, and then so he took this thing, and this is when he learned about the spiral funnel, you know. And I had been telling him for years because I have a background in the medical field too. I'm like, what's your triggers? Not only in like the medical, but also like my depression. What are some of my triggers? You know, like
Mhm.
our mental emotional health is all triggers. Like, there's triggers that like we deal with it every day, but there's stuff that triggers like an episode of depression, an episode of anxiety, an episode of being tempted to look at pornography, you
Yeah.
know? And he always like, I don't have triggers, like that's not what it is, and blah blah blah. Well, this therapist, she did an excellent job of explaining to him the science behind addiction and triggers and how, it's that slippery slope in a funnel that once you're on there, it's really hard to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he started being more open with me about, when he was struggled. Because before I'd be like, just talk to me. If you're feeling tempted, talk to me, like we'll work it through. And he never wanted, like, he just always felt guilty and he didn't want to make me feel worse.
And bring up
And
the
so,
things that were, gonna make you feel
yeah,
bad, and just like a reminder of like, oh yeah, remember this is what I'm struggling with. Like, yeah.
right. Like, because he always, like, he was the perfect kid growing up, other
Mm-hmm.
than this addiction. Like, he was perfect. He fulfilled all of his callings. He went on a mission. He did, like, he is perfect in my eyes.
Yeah.
I tell him sometimes, I'm like, you had to have this problem because then you would be translated and then I wouldn't get to live with you. Like, well, I'd still like to deal without the problem, but
Yeah.
like, I'm not perfect. I couldn't go with you. Anyways, I used to have a rule for him, and our friends down the street, he kind of thought I was a little harsh, but I had this, you have to tell me within 24 hours. If you relapse, you have to tell me within 24 hours. That gives you enough time to come to terms with the fact that you relapsed and get up in the courage to tell me. And
Mm-hmm.
if you do that, then we'll start building our trust back. Well, our friend down the street, he always thought that was kind of harsh, but I was like, I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
if he dwells too long on it, then he's not. He's gonna chicken out and not tell me. Well, after going through this process and everything, um, he got in remission, and it was really amazing for the longest time. And then one day he calls me in a panic, and this is when our trust really started to come back. He goes, Jessica, I forgot what my name was. He goes, I don't know how, but it popped up on my phone. I'm scared. I don't want you to be mad at me. I don't want you to think that I did it on purpose. And he was just freaking out. I said, okay, awesome. Like, it's okay. I believe you. He's like, it was like 10 minutes ago. I was going to call you right then, but then somebody walked into my office. And so I'm calling you now. And I said, would you feel better if you came home and I deleted it off your phone? And he goes, yes. And so he came home and I got on his phone so that because that's the thing about pornography. Um, if the person who is addicted to it tries to delete it off their phone, then they're looking at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then it's more temptation. And so I've always told, my husband, my kids, you shut it and you come get me. And I tell my kids, if some bad pictures pop up, you run away. You
Mm-hmm.
come get mom. Don't get dad, just come get mom and I will take care of it. And so he got home and I deleted it off and he just bawled and bawled because he was so afraid that I would think he had relapsed. And because I had handled it so well, he felt like he could come to me more often. And I think that's the last major like scare we've had, and that's been a few years. And that's when I knew that I could trust him again.
Mm-hmm.
Was when he came to me within 10 minutes of being exposed and just being like, I don't want you to think that I'm looking again. I don't want you to find it on my phone. I want you to know that because it does just pop up, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. It's
It's
everywhere.
it's everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
And so um, that was a major turning point in not only his remission and learning to trust him again, but also just in our overall marriage and friendship
Mm-hmm.
was that we could trust each other again. He could trust that I wasn't going to freak out and be all like hysterical and upset because he screwed up again, and I could trust that he would come to me and when he needed me.
Mhm.
And it was a beautiful thing, and I just absolutely like that was the that's when it started our trust started coming back because it's hard to gain regain trust.
Yeah, it is. Did you find that, like, would you guys be more open in just talking about pornography addiction in general? Like, was it easier to talk about after that? Or is it still kind of one of those things that you don't really bring up unless it's needed type of
Um,
thing?
we have conversations with our kids about it all the time. They're not aware of dad's personal struggle with pornography.
Mm-hmm.
But we've told our story saying we know somebody because dad's not ready for them to know that he's not perfect,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
because that is a huge thing to him. Like he wants his kids to see him the way he is and not the problem that he's had,
Yeah.
you know, because that doesn't define him. And so I've told him though, and like eventually you need to tell your kids so that they know if they screw up, they can come to dad.
Yeah. Because at this point, your oldest is, I was going to say his name, but won't do that. So let's see. How old is he now?
He's 13.
Yeah. Which is like around the age that your husband was. So,
Yeah. And so we have conversations with them. We're very open
mm-hmm.
um, about, if you see somebody, our kids don't ride the bus, but if they're on the bus for like something or other, like if somebody shows you, you tell them you don't want to see it and you walk away. You let us know. Like we're very open. Like we don't want you to, but if you get exposed, you can talk to us about it.
Mm-hmm.
And we started at a very young age because it's everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
and kids at school, even at a young age, like there's been several instances here between like naughty pictures and like kids with drugs from home trying to share them at school, like it's
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. And so we've had those conversations with our kids and I've been very open with them about the why behind it because we grew up, well, don't do this,
Mm-hmm.
but never the why behind it. And so I've always talked about the why behind it. Okay, like, it happens, you get exposed, but this is why we don't want you to stay there and stare at it, because this
Mm-hmm.
can happen. And I take it in more of a science, like it'll adjust the chemistry in your brain. Like that's what people don't realize about addiction is that it rewires your brain.
Mm-hmm.
Alcohol, pornography, drugs, all those types of addictions, it rewires your brain. And so it's not just willpower to get you over it. Like you have to find um, ways to undo that rewiring to make it easier for you to overcome the addiction,
Mm-hmm.
Like the gal about the painkillers, like she can't be around her old friends. Going back home is really hard because then she's very, it's easy to fall back into that. And so um, we've been very open, like, we don't want you guys to have to deal with this. We don't want
Yeah.
your brain rewired. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
just try and like stay away from it so that then you don't have to have this struggle. And I think it was a couple years ago, we were talking to our older two, and because they had started kind of lying,
Uh, mm-hmm.
like
They're
kids
wonderful.
do,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
you know. And so I flat out told them, I said, if you guys really start lying, then you lose your trust. And if we can't trust you, then you lose privileges. And
Mm-hmm.
so then I explained to them about how dad had lost mom's trust and how hard it is for daddy to gain it back. So I need you to know how important trust is. You can't just say something and then do something else, or you can't lie and expect there not to be consequences. And so, jokingly, so my friend has three boys, and then she finally got her girl a couple years ago. I have four boys and got my girl
Got
a
your
couple
girl. Yeah.
years ago.
Uh-huh.
So we always joked that we were boy moms because we knew that, from our experience with our husbands, that we could help our boys
Yeah.
not go down that same path.
Mhm. Yeah.
But then we finally got our girls.
You did.
I mean, girls can still be exposed to pornography too, you know, and so like we still need to be aware of that for our girls, but it's more prevalent in men. So,
Um, so what would you say like has been the biggest shift in like the way you think, how you say like going from victim mentality to advocate mentality? Like what how has that changed your way of really thinking? I know you said like it's not your fault, but like do you have more about what that's been like?
well, so I think the best way to describe it is I've done a lot of reading on Elizabeth Smart and how she's talked about the difference between like the different types of consent.
Mhm.
Like a lot of people, she said that people were like, well, why did you give in and just let him? And she goes, well, because I didn't say yes, but I just let him because it was survival. And
Mhm.
she talks a lot about consent. And I think that's the change for me. I don't have to have sex with him if I don't want to.
Mhm.
Whereas before I felt like I had to in order to help him. And now it's like, okay, well, I'm not in the mood. I know you are, but you're strong enough to handle this, and I don't have to be the victim and let you do whatever you want with me anymore. Like, I think it allowed me to be, um, I don't know the words I'm thinking, but it gave me
Mhm.
a voice for my body, and a voice for, you know, whether I wanted to have sex with him or not. I don't feel the need to say yes every time he wants it.
Did
Like
you
if
feel
I'm
like
not in the
before
mood,
that you were almost
oh
being
yeah,
used in a way?
oh yeah.
Mhm.
um, all the time I felt like I was just meeting his need. Like he's never been mean about it.
Mhm.
Um,
But
but the
internally it was
times,
like if I don't do this,
right.
then
And
what could happen?
if I rejected him, he would get like down and then I'd feel like, oh no, he's gonna like relapse or whatever.
Yeah.
But now it's like, yes, he's disappointed, but I don't take it as like he's automatically gonna relapse now. Like
Mhm.
he can handle it, he's a big boy.
Yeah.
And so it gave me a voice in our intimacy between
Mhm.
the two of us. And I think that helped me overcome the it's my fault, because I'm not meeting his needs,
Mhm.
because I don't have to meet his needs every time he wants it,
Yeah.
you know. And if you need to know more about that, women, you should listen to Elizabeth Smart because she says it so beautifully.
She's a strong woman. She's
Yeah,
impressive.
she is very impressive.
Oh yeah. Well, I appreciate you sharing about it. Yeah, I know like multiple people in my life that have struggled with this, and it's just sad because it's I feel like we do talk about like other addictions like alcoholism or like drug addictions. Like I feel like those are a lot more talked about, but it's like pornography is one of those things that's kind of viewed as like disgusting, and I don't know, it's like hush hush. Like I feel like it's not
Yeah,
talked about very often, and especially like, in our communities too. It's like,
yeah,
whoa, like don't talk about that type of a thing. And so it's just like I know that it's out there. And even like, yeah, like you said, like the people that you view as these really like righteous, good, wholesome people, like it it reaches out to everybody, and some people
hmm
may not end up falling into like the addiction side, but I know that like I don't know, I've seen it
they'll
in
know
my life on
somebody.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm like I know people that I've just come across on an accident and like kind of fall into like have it for a little bit of time and then are like, okay, it's not for me type of thing, but also have fallen into the addiction and it has trapped them.
hmm
And I'm just
yeah.
like, I know that so many more people struggle with it than probably are willing to talk about it. And so
Right.
I
Well,
guarantee you
especially
there's
like,
someone that will listen to this. It'll be like, yep, I'm in that right now. Like I'm in the
right?
depths of it, Yeah.
And that's how it's always been. Like, I've tried to follow the spirit on sharing, and if I get the impression that somebody needs to know our story, um, I'm very open about it.
Mhm.
And my husband at first was like, uh, he struggled with it. And I said, but it's a part of me. It's a part of who
Yeah.
I am. It's a part of our story, and it's something that can help others. And so because I'm open, and have had experiences of sharing, you would be amazed at how many women are going through this right
Mhm.
now.
Yeah. That's the same
And
for anything. It'll be a wow, I'm not alone type of,
yeah.
like
hmm
mhm.
And because my friend was so open with me, I was able to find a friend who knew, and I was able to go to her, and she came to me um, when the whole thing went down with her friend, and
Mhm.
just cried to me. She knew she could come to me, and that I would kind of understand. I mean,
Yeah.
I have not had to go through, and she's amazing, and
Did their
they
marriage
like
survive that?
it did,
Wow.
and they're stronger for it. Like, um, our bishop at the time, he flat out told him, he said, you know what? If you leave now, you're going to regret every single day of your life
Mhm.
because no judge is going to award you custody of your kids. So you'll only get to see them every other weekend. And do you really want to throw away your beautiful wife and what she's put up with you? Like,
Mhm.
think this through. And he said, go find somewhere to be alone for 24 hours, and then you come back and tell me whether or not you want to give up this beautiful life you have. And
Mhm.
that's what clicked for him. And then he started taking, it was a bigger program than what my husband did. It was, I can't remember what it was called, but they used the book Like Dragons, they did fight or something like that. Like
I'll
Dragons, they
look
did
it up.
fight. Yeah.
Mm.
Um, so that's another really amazing program. And that's what helped him. So
And have you done any
it's,
things like on your? I know you said you started antidepressants because of your like postpartum, but have you done anything else that you feel like has helped you in your like healing of it? Have you? I know obviously you said you read about Elizabeth Smart, and that has been like good too. Just hearing her
yeah.
like her views, but
Um, I don't know. Just during this time, I asked to be released from a calling. That was really hard for me. I've never asked to be released from a calling in our
mhm.
church, and that was extremely hard. But I needed to take care of me
Mhm.
and my kids, and um, like so I got on antidepressants because of the postpartum, and I think I've always had depression. It's just I'm a runner, and I had been running.
Mhm.
I was very active even on my mission. I tried to run. I walked everywhere on my mission. And so I think that kept it at bay enough that I could handle it.
Mhm.
But I'm not very active now other than chasing my
Kids will
kids
do that to
around.
you. Yeah,
You
kids
know?
will do that.
And so my body's not getting those natural endorphins.
Mhm.
And so, being on antidepressants helps my body take up what I do get from my
Yeah.
life. Um, and so I have, um, I still have my ups and downs, and I've had some other struggles, like with my family, that have caused some extra depression and stuff. But
Mhm.
um, I
Have you
think,
done like therapy or anything? Have you and your husband done any therapy together or anything like that?
no, we haven't.
Mhm.
We've talked about it a few times, and we've talked about getting me in for therapy for my depression, but we just,
Haven't.
life.
Oh yeah, no. I understand
But
it. I do. I told myself
but
I'm like I should probably get into it years and years ago, and it took a long time. But yeah.
and we've talked about it. We just my therapy is ceramics.
Mm.
My therapy is my tub.
Mhm.
As long as we like make sure to make a conscious effort for me to have something like that,
Some self care
um,
for yourself.
self-care, then I
Mhm.
then I do great.
Mhm.
It's just hard to make sure we
It is.
that time,
Yeah.
especially with kids. But now that my son's older, like he can babysit and we can go on dates now together without having to like not a huge production and stuff. And
Mhm.
so, um, I think the biggest thing is that I was called into primary a little while, 6 months or so after I asked to be released from my other calling.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I didn't want to go to church anymore because there was like, there's no reason because nobody needs me. I need to be needed.
Yeah.
And so I told the primary president, she goes, well, I was told we can't call you to anything. I was like, I'd love to be in primary. I just need something because I was in young women's again, Mandy.
That's your life, Jessica. Were you the president again?
No, thank
Oh,
goodness, but
still, that's a
um,
demanding calling. It is.
it is. And the
Mm-hmm.
emotions of the girls was more than I could handle with
Mm-hmm.
my own emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And so um, I started subbing in primary, and then I told the primary president, I was like, I need to be needed, but I need it to be a calling that I can just do on Sundays and not
Mm-hmm.
take me away from my family, and especially like we were going through, like, I didn't want to leave the home by myself still,
Mm-hmm.
like there was just a lot. And then I got called to be the music chorister in
Mm-hmm.
primary, and this is my calling, is to teach
You love
music.
it? Oh, I love
I
that.
love it.
I
And
think it takes a special person to do that calling. It would like terrify me, even though they're like 7-year-olds. I'd be like, don't listen to my voice.
oh no, they have some very strong opinions, including a couple of my sons. But
Uh-huh. But
but
it could be
um,
fun.
I think that's the thing that has saved me is I started teaching piano lessons,
Mm.
and I'm not the best piano player, but I love music and I
Mm-hmm.
love helping kids learn to play the piano.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that gave me the confidence to feel comfortable with this new calling, and I just love it. And I love,
Mm-hmm.
like, the kids were singing on Sunday, and the spirit was so strong. And it just reiterated that, Jesus does love us and that he's there and he's taking care of us, and um you know whatever we're going through, he went through it. And if we could just have the faith of these little kids,
Mm-hmm.
and just believe, like, their spirits are so amazing and so sweet. And
Mm-hmm.
they
Mm-hmm.
believe that Heavenly Father and Jesus love them. They believe that if they have faith, like,
Mm-hmm.
it's so simple. And it just reminds me that, no matter what we're going through, no matter what pain we've suffered, that if we go to our Heavenly Father and our Savior, like, they're there and they will lift us up and they will strengthen us in our trials.
Mm-hmm.
And good things are just around the corner. Will it always be? Do I have my happily ever after with my husband? No. Like, he's still a man.
You're still working on it.
And
Yeah.
I'm still an imperfect woman, and we'll
Mm-hmm.
have our moments and, things. But is life good? Life is good.
I am happy for you. I don't even know what just like you just summed that up like so great that I'm like, yeah, well, I guess that's it. But no, that makes me happy because yeah, like even as you're going through like the dark, really hard spots, yeah, like you're not completely out of those, but there is a light at least that you can build the
Yeah.
trust again and have that like connection with each other. So it like
Yeah.
just I mean, I knew you obviously through that time while you were going through, and it's just like, oh, you just never know like what anybody's going through. I say that like I feel like every episode I'm like, oh, you just never know, but you really never do. And we all just have our things that we're all working
That's
on and
why I
struggling
needed our
with.
Jamba dates, Mandy.
I I know. Our Jamba dates, that's probably like the last time I even went to Jumbo's when I went with you. Well, I even think too, I'm like, we went to Carnation together. I don't know if you remember that, but I remember doing that together. And
Did we
yeah,
really?
yeah, we did. But
Oh,
yeah,
fun.
no, Jamba dates, yeah, those were fun. Oh, God, it's been a long time since we've talked, so this was good to talk to you
Yes.
too. Yeah.
Well, thanks for letting me share my story.
Oh,
And I
yeah,
hope
thank
it
you for
helps
coming on.
somebody.
I know that it will. I know that it will. So, okay, well, let's keep in contact.
Okay, let's do.
Okay, you have a great day, Jessica. I've
Thanks,
like almost said
Mandy.
your name 100 times, but Jessica. Okay, we'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. how many times have I said in, the last 5-6 months that we've been on this podcast journey together that you just never, ever know what is going on in someone else's home and in someone else's life and in their marriage or whatever it may be. Because, as I mentioned in the episode, I spent a lot of time with Jessica and I had no idea. So, lesson is, this is why you should just treat everybody in your life with love and kindness, because you just don't know the stuff and the things that they may be struggling with. I thought it was beautiful of Jessica to just share her experience through this, the hard times and the more uplifting times in the end, her spiritual testimony tied in there. And in case you're wondering, I know I have a lot of people on here that listen that may be familiar with the LDS Church and what the specific callings that we were talking about were. And I know that I've talked about a little bit in some previous episodes, but she talks about young women's, and young women's is a calling in the LDS Church where you work with the youth, specifically the young females in the church. Primary is where the kids go on Sundays and they talk about Jesus and sing songs. And so those were the two things that, in case you didn't know what those were, probably could have pieced it together. But if not, there's some clarification. And if you ever have anything when you're listening to an episode that you do feel like you want some clarification on, reach out to me and I will gladly answer those questions. So thank you, Jessica, for telling your story. As I said, I know there are a lot of people that have experience with this in their lives and can relate. And if it's not specifically pornography, it could be a wide range of other addictions or struggles that marriages have. If anything, no marriage is perfect. It all has its challenges in it. So, all right. Well, if you have a story, please reach out to me. I would love to hear it. If I'm being honest, we're getting to the point that I need the people to reach out to me. So if you want to keep listening to this podcast, come be on it. Come be one of my wonderful, wonderful guests. You can be anonymous if you would like to. And I would love to chat with you. So reach out to me on Instagram at Sippin' On Stories Podcast. Reach out to me via email, sippinonstoriespodcast@gmail.com. If you know me, you can send me a message, just whatever. Reach out and I'll get back to you. All right, Sipsters. I'll be here again next week for another episode of the Sippin' On Stories podcast. Goodbye.